I constantly thank you. You constantly bless me. I constantly thank you for blessing me. When the sun refused to shine, for giving me peace of mind. I constantly thank you for blessing me. Hey, I constantly thank you. Lord, you constantly bless me. I constantly thank you for blessing me. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wealth Station. This is Brother Rick, your wealth coach, and with a couple of wonderful, illustrious guests here today, Queen Tanisha Taylor and Queen Dana Clark. And we're going to be talking to you this afternoon about paying the price, an idea of how important it is to pay the price so that you can have the best that life has to offer. In other words, we're going to talk about how to do things first class. So good. First of all, good afternoon or good morning, I should say, to my wonderful queens. Queen Dana, how are you, dear? And Tanisha, how are both of you? How are you doing today?
Doing amazing. Thank you.
I'm doing excellent today. Excellent.
So glad to have both of you, and we're gonna have a great time as we go into this discussion. So let's get right into it. You guys mute yourselves until I ask you a question. So we're gonna talk to you guys about. Good morning, Beverly. How you doing, Berlin? Good morning. Um, Shout out to both of you all. So we're going to be talking this morning about paying the price. And the reason that I asked you queens to come on is because you guys have paid the price to be a part of our legacy group, our legacy players. You're living a life now of people who are in the 1 percentile of the whole entire human population. You know what it's like now to operate as sentient beings. You know what it's like now to get back 4 times the money you spend. You know what it's like now to live tax free. You know what it's like now to be able to take your kids shopping and it don't cost you nothing. You know what it's like now to be able to take trips and the trips don't cost you nothing. You know what it's like now to live a life that's amazing on the other side of money. You're developing generational money now. And I'm just proud of both of you, queens, you young queens. And I want to talk about paying the price today. So the scripture that I want us to go into is Matthew, the 16th chapter. And we have this situation. Good morning, Sharon. How you doing, Queen Sharon? Good morning, dear.
Good morning.
So glad to have you today. Good morning. And and my grandson is on here, Joseph the Financial Dreamer. He's 9 years old. He's looking on YouTube here. He's got his own channel, Joseph the Financial Dreamer, at 9 years old. I should have invited him in. So let's talk about this idea of paying the price. Okay. So we have a situation where Jesus is about to go to the cross. There's 2 days left. And so he comes into town and he goes to this guy's house named Simon, a leper. So a woman named Mary comes into the house and she takes an alabaster box and then she pours oil on Jesus's head and it drips all the way down to his feet. And then she wipes his feet. He wipes it. You can't hear Sharon? Something wrong with you? You can't hear? You might need to go out and come back in, Sharon, if you can't hear, because everybody else can hear. Oh, y'all can hear, right? Everybody else can hear. So Sharon, if you can't hear, go out and come back in. Okay. So can you hear Sharon? Can you hear? Sharon, can you hear? Okay, I'm gonna remove you and come back in. Okay. All right. So let me see if we get Sharon back in. All right. So perhaps you can come back in. So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. Good morning, Peggy, and good morning to all of you. I have Queen Dana, Queen Tanisha, and Queen Sharon will be joining us again soon. These are all legacy players in our legacy group. These are all members of our Financial IQ Challenge that we do once a month. And these are very astute women who are learning how to have money way beyond their lives. And they're learning how to have money for their kids and their kids' kids and their unborn kids. And I'm just very proud of you all. So let's talk about the alabaster box because this woman gets a box of alabaster. And we understand that alabaster box is a box that holds precious ointments. In other words, this woman paid some money for this. And because she was willing to pay the price, she's able to go down in history as the woman who anointed Jesus's feet. So his disciples, they got upset about it. They was like, hey, listen, this woman, that's a lot of money you just wasted. You know, we could have fed the poor with that. So we all know as wealthy folk, and you guys are learning that wealthy people, we always save time, and we refuse to waste time. But poor people are always trying to save money. They don't want to save time; they want to save money. So let's start out with you, Queen Tanisha. What have you learned as part of the financial IQ challenge about this whole idea of saving, about paying the price in terms of I don't want to waste no doggone time. I'm way more concerned. And good morning, Bridget. How are you? I'm way more concerned about time than I am about wasting my time than I am about wasting money. And I'm not into saving money no more. I'm into saving time. Do you agree with that? Disagree with that, Queen Tanisha? And what's been your learning since you came to the
I
challenge about that?
totally agree with it, and I agree with it in the aspect of being in the banking industry and seeing myself and tons of individuals saving, concerned about interest rates, concerned about retirement plans. And that is the mindset, and that's the thought process of people normally is, do I have enough savings? Do I have enough time to retirement? And you see people at all ages spend so much of time consumed with just saving and saving at little percentage points. Saving it where it is not even turning money over, and you have 60,000 sitting in an account, and people are so afraid because they want to continue to save. And so just seeing that in my personal experience, because that's where I learned this behavior because I was in, as you talked about earlier, that was my community. My community was this mindset. You save, you put this money up, and you just hope that it does something. You hope that the interest rates go up, and people spend all their time doing that, opposed to looking at things in this perspective. How can I do something with my time and not just consume my thought process with saving money, but what can I do with that money in return that could give me a better return in investment, and not the investments that are traditional banks or savings, and nothing against those, because that's just what we've been used to, what we're accustomed to doing. And so this financial challenge or this financial IQ has gave me a next level of thinking. It got me out of the box, and it takes some time when you've been mentally dressed or mentally programmed to think a certain way. And this is how financial wellness is, or financial prosperity is. And then you hear something like the things we've been hearing today and the other days during the challenge, to think differently about money, to think differently on how we make money, and to think differently about not saving it and being so consumed with it. But how can we pay others, hire people to do things that we don't have to do, because now we're in this wealth position that we can hire people. So now that gives us more time to be in the marketplace, to use our ideals, to use our talents and our gifts to make more money. And then that money that we're trying to keep in these accounts that really have no return on investment, how can we get that money out and put it in things like you're doing today, in this trust that's going to allow us to get 4 times what we spend back by paying into it, because it's not going to be free. Nothing in life is free. So when we talked about that alabaster box, and you were talking about the oil, that is precious, that is worth something. And we have to give of ourselves in that capacity of saying, I'm going to give this little bit to gain so much more. But when your mind is mentally challenged and you feel that's all you got, and you got to hug it and you got to hold on to it tight, then you're like, no, I'm not giving it up. That's a lot, because you're not able to think in that way that you're teaching us and showing us to think, which is wealthy mindset and kingdom mindset. And I don't want to waste any time, and I don't want others in my community to waste time with the knowledge that you're giving us, which is so amazing. And I'm so thankful for all that you've done for us and showed us in just a short few weeks, for me, that is life changing. So thank you.
Well, God bless you. We're so glad to have you, Tanisha. And you guys heard Tanisha after 27 years in the banking business. I know they all tripping around the world because they like, that woman ain't 27 years old. How in the world is she in a banking business for 27 years? You ought to be selling some stay young forever stuff. I don't know what
Right.
outside of what we do. You need to be selling some stay young forever products, because you look like you 27, talking about 27 years. And you even have did you say you have a 27-year-old?
Yes, I do. I have a 27-year-old, and everyone say we look like sisters, so I take that.
know y'all do because Shantae asked me. She said, "How old is Tanisha?" I heard her saying something about 27 years. I said, Tanisha got a 27-year-old child.
Mhm.
Believe it or not, believe it or not. So you look outstanding and keep
Thank
up your
you.
good, keep
Thank
up your good health. Whatever you're doing healthy wise, continue to do that. So you all heard Tanisha. She said about how 27 years in the banking industry, and she's seen people come and go, and basically come in broke and leave out broke and die broke because it takes too long for the money to grow in a typical savings account. It takes 72 years for your money to double with a 1%. So you got to pay the price, you all. You have to pay the price to move your money. Pay the price to move your money. Pay the price to move your money from these dormant accounts into things that really work. You know, we have a tax-free trust that produces multiples of the money that you put into it just because you put the money in the trust and spend it. So that's just one idea. And our other idea is that we hire a lot of people, we make a lot of money. And so all you guys who have money that's sitting dormant, that money is meant to hire people so that you can go higher because you hire to go higher. So Queen Dana, I'd love you to tell your story too. And we have about 10 minutes left here because we're going to go over to and talk over on a Clubhouse, you guys. So if you guys want to come over to our Clubhouse room, it's called Wealth Principles from the Bible. And you all are welcome to come over there and discuss this idea of paying a price, just paying the best price so that you get the best results. So Queen Dana, when we met, because your mind started going, oh man, how do I pay the price to get involved with Brother Ricky and what they're doing and how they're making all this money? And so just tell me what happened. Once you started focusing on paying the price, how did your life change and what's happened between the months leading up to the end of this year and what's going on with you now? Queen Dana Clark, you're dancing your dime floor.
Well, thank you. Once I started focusing on how to come up with the money, and instead of holding back and saying, well, I don't want to go after credit because I've been taught my whole life, don't go for credit, don't borrow money, don't do this. Like she was talking about, just save, save, save. And once I was set free of that mindset through the financial IQ, I was like, wow, I've got it all wrong. And so I started pulling together what resources I could. And when one door would close, I would just go for another one. And finally, I just got online with the bank and put what I wanted. And they gave me almost close to what I wanted. I was like, man, they were just wanting to hand out money. Like, all right, cool. So I used that. And then as we've talked about before, I pulled another source that I thought, hey, I'm going to have it till I'm 65, slow money. And then I thought, no, wait a minute. So I went through the process and got that money released to me and was able to move forward with opening my trust. And it's important because that money that was set aside that was going to be there till I was 65, that slow money, it wasn't set up to even be left to my son, to anybody. It wasn't a beneficiary attached to it. So had I passed away, that money would go to nobody. So I just shifted it.
Let me help you a little bit there, Dana, because what Dana's talking about you all is an annuity. Mm-hmm. And the insurance company is the beneficiary of your annuities. So when people get paid, like in your case, you had a settlement. So that's why y'all see these JG Wentworth commercials. So what an annuity is a savings account with a life insurance company. So what they do is that they say, listen, we'll pay you so much money every month. And it'll last for a certain amount of years. It's called a settlement option. So you take a settlement option. So your settlement option is that I'll take money for a certain amount of years. So let's say you got 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So you're guaranteed to get that money for those certain amount of years. But when those years expire, or if you die in the interim, the insurance company is your beneficiary. So when you just said that money would have went nowhere, oh yeah, it would have went somewhere. It would have went to the insurance company who issued you that annuity. And if that ain't big pimping, I don't know what is. How you gonna take my money and then tell me I'm gonna become the beneficiary of your money if you die, not your kids, not your grandkids, not your great grandkids. We gonna be the beneficiaries. And Solomon said, there's the evil that I've seen up under the sun. He said, but it's common among men. He said, that God would give us riches and honor and that we would leave it to a stranger. Well, if all of you guys that have annuities right now, who have settlement options with your annuities, I want to stop by to let you know that when you die, your money is going to strangers. You just set yourself up for some of the biggest shenanigans known to man, because they're going to keep that insurance company going to keep your money. That's why y'all need to come to the Financial IQ Challenge so that you can get informed about the stuff that nobody's talking to you about. They're just thinking that it's okay, but it's not innocent at all. So Queen Dana, first of all, you broke up out of the annuity jail, and then what happened after that?
Well, I get to shift some money around, so I still get to come out of debt. And it's since I get to free my straw man, because I want to build his credit score back up so I can start borrowing and leveraging and going back and forth with that. And I'm excited about that. Also, I
No,
got to have
hold it, Dana. You can't be dropping bombs. Hold it, Dana. You can't be dropping bombs. We talking to the whole world. You say you're straw man. They like, what the heck? She got a straw man. What you talking about? Is she the Wizard of Oz, a scarecrow? What she talking about? The straw man. So for you guys who don't know what Dana's talking about, Dana has an unincorporated trust now. So what she means when she says a straw man is that now she's operating as a person who can get tax credits because she has her rights back as a human being. She has her rights back that she did not have before she opened up an unincorporated trust. However, what she's saying is that she still has an identity as a straw man, as a person who was operating the way that she was before we met. So what she's saying is that with her regular credit and all of that, now she can really make that even better because we freed up money for her to be able to do that because she was just had money that was just sitting there not serving no purpose. Is that correct, Dana? And I just want to make sure they understand a little bit about what a straw man is.
That's exactly right. The straw man is literally
Okay,
my piece of paper. That's all he
say that
is.
again.
He's just a piece of paper. That's all he is, or she.
Yes,
However you
right.
want to
He or
call it.
she. It's a piece of paper. So we got about 5 minutes left. So tell me, how do you guys feel about the fact that now what kind of freedom does paying the price give you? Because I don't think people understand. I know people don't understand. People with tight butt cheeks, holding on their little money in a bank account, holding on their little money in a savings account, holding on to their little money in an annuity, little money. They say, Ricky, I got $200,000. It's little money, all right? Because ain't nobody generational stuff gonna happen off that little money. So I got $1 million. Well, $1 million definitely ain't going those 6, 7 generations. So this little money that people be holding on to, and they be holding on to it frantically because they don't want to pay they think that they safe. But if you don't want to pay the price, you're in the most dangerous place in the world because you guaranteeing yourself that your kids and your grandkids ain't gonna have nothing. So let's start out with you, Tanisha, and then Dana. If you can you take about 2 minutes apiece before we move on over? Well, how does it feel that you all have come through the challenge and now you know what it means to pay the price, just the freedom? Can you explain that, Tanisha? How does that feel?
Yes, absolutely. So I just came out of the challenge. I think it's maybe 2 weeks now.
Mhm.
And so the price that it was, I was just like, okay, how am I going to get this? And I remember you were talking about leveraging and, you got to move this to move that. So to pay the price, I was like, I'm going to figure out how to do this. And so I got a plan in place where I had my name on a property with someone and I just didn't take it off. And so I was like, well, this will be my opportunity to get the funds out of that property with them. I'm going to refinance that. Then I can take the cash out that's due to me with that property so that now I can pay the price. So some of these things are like we have to be creative with when we have to pay the price and we have to leverage. If it's not in the bank account, it's somewhere else. We have to find that. And through this challenge, it put a fire under me to find things or to look for things that I normally just would have said, okay, keep money in the savings, keep money in the savings. And I don't want to use my money. So what I'm going to do is when that money actually comes to me, I'm going to still borrow, but I'm going to have the capacity now that I'm leveraged where I have money here and money there because we don't want to use our own money. That's what this whole process is about, is that you're learning how to use other people's money and be okay to borrow and be okay to get some out of those savings accounts if it's needed for you to do something wonderful like this for yourself and for your family. So I am so grateful that I can think differently, think different than my mind of my banking traditional thinking, and think differently than sometimes even our families and our generations, and go against the grain and pay the price because it does take it does cost, but it's worth every penny and every dime to do this program.
So it sounds like what you're saying is that once you understood that the way I'm doing things, I'm going to die poor. And I'm going to have to pay the price to keep from dying poor. So it sounded to me like you understand the cost is way different from the price. The cost is it would have cost you to continue to behave the way that you was behaving and continue. And you've been in banking for 27 years, and you know that's a dead end. You know that stuff you was going to die poor, die broke, wasn't going to leave nothing to your kids, to your grandkids. You're going to leave no money, and you were going to leave no sense, because they were going to be doing the same thing. So I want to commend you for that, because when you pay the price, that means that it changes your focus. So Queen Dana, before we go, the fact that you was willing to just willing to pay the price, it changed your focus. And how did stuff, what did that have to do with everything materializing that you actually wanted to happen? How did all that stuff happen? Do you correlate it with the fact that she was just willing to pay the price, and then your focus changed and all kind of stuff just boom showed up that wasn't apparent to you before? Can you explain that? We'll go over a minute or two. You got about 2 minutes before we go to the clubhouse. I like to hear that. I like to hear your story.
Well, you taught a lot out of the Bible, and I always thought of the story about the pots with Elijah, and he was telling her, what do you have in your house? And I kept asking myself that question: what do we have in the house? And through pulling resources together, and then the other part of it was, you got to do something crazy. After she got all the oil together, she had to go, ask the neighbors, whatever. She got to do these crazy things. And I kept having that in my head. I got to do something crazy, because I'm pretty by the book, pretty, rule follower, hey, green going to yellow, got to stop kind of thing, So for me, it was like, do something crazy. That's kind of out of my box. Okay. I know you say everybody's in a box. And what I wrote down today was, choose your box wisely, right? You want the alabaster box.
Come on. Come on.
That was always going through my mind, was the oil, what's in your house. And it's really been freeing. I stood in the aisle of Walmart, in the Lego aisle. I went through a divorce years ago. My son was 6 years old. It was one of the hardest times of my life. So I'm not even gonna lie. Custody battle is brutal. There were times I wouldn't eat just to make sure he could eat, kind of thing. And there were times at Christmas I went to the toy drives, or the dollar store, and got Christmas presents that way. And I stood in the Lego aisle and I looked at the Legos and I started to cry this Christmas. I said, we could buy that $100 and some odd set up there if we wanted. And I said, does he already have that one? And my husband's like, yeah, he does. But it was just the thought that I could have bought it if I wanted to. All those years of saying no, all those years of saying I'm sorry, all those years, it was just like all culminated in that aisle in Walmart. And it was a good cry. It wasn't a sorrowful cry. It was just like, it was an empowering cry. You see, what we'll be able to do is, we can help Brother Derek over in Kenya. It's easy. Money comes in, money goes out. Why? Because you want to bless people. My parents lost their house years ago in a fire. I could do nothing. I couldn't give them anything. I had to do a GoFundMe. I couldn't afford to help them. And it really broke my heart. That's the family's land. And there was nothing I could do. And this is empowering me to be able to turn around and be able to bless those who are in my family, who are not in my family, just whoever needs to be blessed, whoever needs help, I can help. And that to me is just freeing, because when you help others, it all comes back around to you. And that's not why we do it, but it really does. It just comes back around. And I'm just excited. This is going to be an amazing year. I'm ready. I'm excited. I hope
Let's
I
go.
answered
Let's go to Alabaster Box. Alabaster Box. Let's
a stone box that caught me. You said you gotta get rid of the distractions all around you, right? You said when you agree to do something, or when you want to pay the price, you said, you gotta get away from all the distractions, because all hell's gonna break loose. And that's true. Well, the alabaster box, you said it was made out of what? Marble. It's a stone box. And I thought about it. Not a lot penetrates through stone. Stone is pretty hard. So you could have all those distractions. You get inside those boxes, you're not going to hear it. That's where the oil is. That's where the Holy Spirit is. You're going to hear nothing but the sound of his voice. So I was excited about that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Get rid of the distractions in the alabaster box.
Yep.
Come on, let's go. Oh, you guys, we got to go right now. Such a good discussion. I really wish we had got a chance to talk a little earlier. We might have to pick back up on this, maybe even as early as tomorrow. Maybe we'll do a part 2 because we just didn't give a chance to really give this kind of justice because we really want to teach you all. We are very willing teachers and servants, you all. It's not just me, it's our entire culture that we have here. We have a culture of millionaires. And because we have a culture of millionaires, we have learned and broke the tax code. We know how to spend $1 and get back $4 for every dollar we spend. And the IRS has to give it to us. It's not a question of whether they can, it's not like they being nice and all of that. We just broke the tax code, and that's the way we live. So because we understand this, we understand that paying the price to be able to get money is our job, so that we can get money, so that we can circulate it out of our trust. That's our job. So Dana's doing a job, Tanisha's doing a job. And for all of you guys who want to get wealthy, you can stop doing all that little slow stuff that don't make money and wasting all y'all time and putting y'all kids in bad predicaments and all of that. You can just cut to the wick with all that foolishness and learn how to operate the way that we operate out of trust, but you're going to have to pay the price. So the first price that y'all going to have to pay is y'all need to come to the Financial IQ Challenge. And our next one, as we speak here, will be coming up in February. So, and for you guys who want to be, just before we go, how important is it for people that come to the challenge to be in platinum? Platinum is $5 for you guys who are interested in what we're talking about. And you have a whole week to learn what it is that we're learning. And you learn how to get this money back that these wonderful queens are getting back now. So let's start with you, Queen Dana, real quick. If they're going to come to class, why would they want to be in platinum? Talk to me.
It's very one-on-one in the sense it's in a group setting, but you have the opportunity to ask you questions and you get that back and forth feedback. And not only that, you use people in the class to do scenarios. It's very hands-on versus if I was just watching it through a live stream or not able to ask you questions. So it's powerful that way. I think you learn a whole lot more.
Yes, ma'am. And you asked some very good questions too, by the way. And Queen Tanisha, what do you think? If you was coming, would you be in platinum? Do you want to be in the best seat and pay the price? Or what do you think?
I would say absolutely you want to be in the best seat. I know when I was in the last training, I liked the part that I was able to hear from so many other people that had already been, and they were asking wonderful questions because it was things that I just didn't know. And to be able to be a part of other people and their experience, just like Dana, I mean, it just blows me away. Preach, girl, preach, like just blows away being able to hear other people. And we need that. We need to hear from each other, and then also to be able to ask the questions from the person that's leading the space and really be students. I felt like I was a student all over, even after having so much education, going through master programs and going through the banking experience, and to be able to be in a class where you're like, I done paid all this money for all this education, and then I come here for this amount of money and get wealth of knowledge. Definitely. If you can, it's worth it. Every penny, every dollar to be in those places where you can have the training and the knowledge that we get.
Well, I'm so glad to have both of you queens today. God bless you. Congratulations, 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 congratulations. Congratulations to you, Queen Dana, because you have an $8,000 check coming just for referring people to our program. And congratulations to you. Is that the easiest money you ever made in your life?
Extremely easy.
Putting your affiliate link on something and getting $8,000. I just want you all to know that we have an environment of creating millionaires, and we split the money and we chop the money up and all that stuff. So we don't have time to finish that right now, you guys, but you guys have a wonderful, phenomenal, awesome day. My Financial IQ Challenge is where you guys go, myfinancialiqchallenge.com, and we'll be getting together again this February. We have another guest that couldn't make it. He's in our back office now, Brother Jackson. But Brother Jackson, we're about to move over to Clubhouse and have this discussion. So we'd love to hear your ideas in Clubhouse because we hate to be late for anything. It was 7 minutes late already, and we like to stay true to our word. So all of you guys who'd like to continue this conversation, go to Wealth Principles from the Bible on Clubhouse, and you can actually come and talk to us, and we can all discuss this. Tanisha, thank you so much. Dana, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Tell your beautiful families I said hello. And we'll see you guys again. And all you guys remember that stellar is as stellar does. We love you all. Everybody have a wonderful day. God bless.